YouTube, what's going on? Appreciate y'all watching videos. What's going on? I'm trying out this. I'm trying out a different way to do videos. So, because I know sometimes when I make live videos, I get off track, and so a lot of my videos, well, all my videos are unscripted. So whatever goes down goes down. That's it. I don't delete the video. That's it. It's out there. So, but I'm gonna try this different way to do it. And so, like I was playing with the YouTube settings, I found out like you can post videos and schedule it to post at a different time, and you know, you have control of the situation. So, the name of this video is called Real Minimum Wage. Real minimum wage. In my last video, if you go and check that video at about 45 minutes, the trajectory of the video kind of changed. I went from talking to a new driver, helping the driver, a new person get into the business, you know, talking about truck driving schools, on to a different route, and the video went on for 2 hours. So I wanted to make a follow-up video to that, and so this video is called Real Minimum Wage. So what are we talking about when we say real minimum wage? Well, when I say the real minimum wage is the minimum amount of money a person would need to be able to maintain a certain level of lifestyle. And so the thing is that the government knows that the average person don't read. I mean, a lot of people read, but they don't digest what they're reading. Okay, they don't read with a purpose. A lot of people who do read, they read for entertainment purposes. They don't read with a certain context in mind. So what I mean when I say that, it's like, okay, the government knows that, okay, they can pretty much set the standard for however they want society to go. So if the government says minimum wage is $2 an hour, everybody will run with that. Nobody thinks to fact check the federal government or the Census Bureau or different agencies that maintain certain data on information or statistical information, right? Nobody uses their common sense. They just take what the government says, and it's the holy grail, it's the word. And so if the government says the average income in America is $50,000 a year, and that's it, everybody just settle for that. If the government says minimum wage is $7 an hour, everybody just believe that bull and just run with it, right? But in my opinion, I believe minimum wage is like, it's like 150,000. That's my, I would say somewhere around 130, 140,000. And so, I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of flack, but that's the issue, because a lot of people don't think to fact check, um don't think to fact check. Okay, just like, I mean, don't believe everything you hear. Okay, don't believe me. Don't believe everything I say. All the junk I be talking about in my videos is a bunch of junk. Okay, I mean, if you don't want to expand your mind and think outside the box, get off the video. Go back to your regular life. Continue being in the rat race and being a slave if you don't want to learn and listen. Okay. And so that's what it is. But okay, my opinion, I think minimum wage is somewhere around 140, 150,000. Okay, full trucker, how did you come to that conclusion? What do you think? How do you think minimum wage is 140, 150,000? Well, it's just basic math, basic common sense. It's just I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, it's this movie called The Matrix. I like to use this example because it's a clear indication showing you, it's a clear example of what I'm saying. Like, you have people that will die for false information. So many people have died off the premise of religion and some all kind of things that people believe in, civil rights movement, all kind of things. People have died for false information. No one has ever thought to say, let me go and fact check this information to make sure it's true before I go taking my life for it. And so everybody is just, taking that pill, just like in the Matrix, just taking that pill and run with it. And so when I say real minimum wage is somewhere around 140, 150,000, that information is based on me using my common sense and saying, okay, if you can't, here's the deal. Let me just get right to it because I'm doing a lot of talking. We 10 minutes in the video. If you cannot pay cash for basic living essentials, you are dead broke. That's I mean, I can't give it to you no other way. And see, folk want to make it more complicated than what it is. Let me get my calculator. Because the thing is, like, most people don't use a calculator. They don't keep a budget. They don't do they don't do household economics. The government knows this. The regime knows this. Okay, they know when they go to the grocery store, most people don't keep a budget. You might have a few thrifty financial nerds that clip coupons going to the grocery store. A few, maybe 1 or 2 out of 10. 10 people that go to 10 people out of 10 people that go to the grocery store, maybe 1 or 2 actually like clip a coupon and try to find a discount. Most people, when they go to the grocery store, they just go in there and just willy-nilly and buy anything off the shelf. And so my point is, okay, when I say a minimum wage is 150,000, the thing is that, okay, if a person made 150,000 after taxes, because 150,000, that puts you in like the 25% tax bracket, 30% tax bracket. Let me say 30%. I don't know what the tax brackets are. You're gonna pay about $45,000 in taxes. single and one, regular W-2 job if you making 150,000. Now, if you got a business, you're not paying all that money out in taxes, but that's not the point of the conversation. So you make 150,000 minus $45,000 in taxes. Your cash money that hits your checking account is $150,000, $105,000 in a year. You know, easy. It's calculator, basic arithmetic. 150,000 minus 45,000 for taxes. So you got $105,000 left over. So, okay, in Atlanta, I can find a house for about 50, 60,000. It won't be the best house it won't be a house in the best shape in the world. But if you make $100,000 a year, you can pay cash for that house. I mean, the cost of living is somewhere around 30. So if it costs you $30,000 to live, minus $30,000, you got $75,000 to go buy a house cash. You can go buy a house cash if you make 150,000. Okay. The year one. Okay, just say like you just a person that just started making 150,000. Your first year making 150,000, you can save 75,000 and just go pay cash for a $75,000 house. I know what you're gonna say. I know what y'all gonna say. Oh, 404, man. If you make, most people who make 150,000, they not gonna buy a $75,000 car, a $75,000 house. That's besides the point. I'm trying to tell you what true minimum wage is. I'm trying to tell you what true, real minimum wage is. Okay. And so you got a house. The second year, you make another 150,000. You pay the $45,000 taxes. You got $105,000 left over. Second year, you go buy a Honda Accord for about 20,000. You know, I mean, it's not the best. It's a year old. It's a cream puff. You know, it's not brand new, but a brand new Honda Accord is about 25. You can get a used one a year or two old. Instead of a 2019, you can get 2018, 2017 Honda Accord for about 20, 21, 22,000. So 105,000 minus 20,000 for the Honda Accord, you got $85,000 left. $85,000 left. That's a lot of money. If you make if you make $150,000 a year, you can pretty much pay cash. You can cash flow everything that you need in your life. You buy a house cash. You can buy a car cash. You can pay for medical expenses cash. You don't even need medical insurance, but most people have medical insurance. I'm trying to make a point here. I don't want to get into back and forth about medical and the deductible. No. I'm talking about real minimum wage. This is real minimum wage. Real minimum wage is $150,000 a year, 140 somewhere around there, because $150,000 a year barely gets you the minimum essentials of life, paying cash without using debt. You could buy a nice car for $20,000 cash every year, making that kind of money. You got a car that's gonna last you about 10 years. Honda Accord, you can get about 7, 8, 9 years out of a Honda Accord. Okay. If you put $20,000 in a mutual fund for 6, 7, 8 years, I mean, you can retire at an early age. retirement is for people who don't like their jobs. That's basically what it boils down to. If you like what you do, you don't need to retire. You love what you do. You know what I mean? So that's just what it is. But that's another video. And so here's the problem is like the regime has brainwashed people to feel like $40,000, $40,000 a year is enough. That ain't enough, man. Because if you make $40,000 a year, you can't pay nothing cash. You're not paying for nothing cash. The only thing, if you make $45,000 a year, the only thing that you're paying cash is like your light bill, rent, water bill, phone bill, basic utilities. But you're not buying a car cash. You're not buying a house cash, which you should be. The average person supposed to have a couple $100,000 in the bank, and the average person supposed to have a paid for car. The average person is supposed to be able to go to a car dealership and just buy a car, $30,000 car, cash. The average person is supposed to be able to cash flow a house, just buy a house, $75,000, done. You got a house, no mortgage. But people who make $150,000, they're living 10 times their income. Somebody who makes $150,000, they got a $500,000 house with a note on it. And see, here's the deal. Somebody who makes $150,000, they can save up in like 5, 6, 7 years and pay cash for that $400,000 house. I don't think you should do that, because that's way more house than you need. I mean, in where I live at in Georgia, you can buy a nice house for $150,000. The house I live in is worth about $120,000, $130,000. The house I live in, and so I feel like my house that I live in is a decent house. I mean, it's not big, it's not small. It's a 3-bedroom, and I mean, I would like something bigger, but at the same time, it's like when you have a large lifestyle, you have to pay to maintain that lifestyle. If the roof goes out, your roof expense maintenance bill in 15, 20 years is going to be out. It's just going to be crazy. Your roof is going to cost you $20,000 to replace it. If you got a big old house, keep the grass cut. If the AC goes out, all that stuff, all that bigger equipment on your life, it costs money. And see, this is the stuff that people don't talk about. That's real minimum wage. I mean, I would say minimum is like somewhere around 140, 150,000, because I want to be able to clear 100 after taxes. And if you're somebody that's single and one and you're clearing $100,000 a year, you can pay cash for just about everything. All the bare essentials: a house, a car, basic medical mishaps. If you break your leg or something, and then the doctor and your insurance come back and you have to pay a high deductible, you can cash flow that. But the average person, they got to take on debt. They got medical bills, a $20,000 medical bill. If you make $40,000 a year and you have a medical mishap, you're going to have to use debt. And you're going to have to sit up there and spend 10, 15, 20 years to pay off some medical debt. What about cars? The average person is financing a $15,000 car for like 60 months. That don't make no sense, man. You should be able to the average person is supposed to have $15,000 in the bank to just be able to just spend $15,000 on a car. 15 grand ain't a lot of money. I need y'all to understand that 40, 50, $60,000 is a rat race working class money. And I'm not trying to I'm not trying to disrespect anybody on the amount of money they make. I just need y'all to understand the truth of household economics. I need y'all to understand that. Nobody talks about the truth. Everybody gets their information on Fox News and all this garbage, CNN. The people who write these articles are in debt. The people who work for the CNNs and the news outlets and stuff, all these people, they don't make no money either. So they don't even know what it is to even have $10, $15, $20,000 in the bank and just be able to pay cash for houses, pay cash for cars. They don't know nothing about that. And so they're not going to write the truth. You got to get around a business owner. You got to get around somebody who's running the debt-free business, because everybody talk about paying cash for a truck, right? But okay, if you're paying cash for a truck, you should be able to pay cash for a house. You pay cash for a car. You should be able to pay cash for trips. You should be able to pay cash for medical mishaps. You should be able to just pay cash for just about anything. But see, the regime has brainwashed you to put everything on payments and pay 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15% interest rate on every doggone thing and make money off you. You know? And it's a doggone shame. And see, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate off this video, but it's fine because I'm telling the truth. A lot of people don't want to hear the truth. And so I want to be able to motivate you to get out here and get it. Okay, that's what I'm trying to do here, because there are guys out here getting into trucking, making $50,000 a year, thinking they made it, making $18 an hour. You made it. You ain't making no money, man. You got to pay payments on everything. You got to starve yourself through life. You got to starve. Like nobody don't want to starve through life. You got to cut back on everything just to live. To do anything out of the ordinary, you got to starve yourself. You got to cut back on certain restaurants. You got to cut back on gas. You got to cut back on light bills. You got to your whole life is you just running around trying to cut back on stuff, cut spending somewhere to do other things. How about you go make some more money, then you don't have to cut back. You don't have to put stuff on payments. You don't have to get a mortgage to buy a house. Where I live in Georgia, you can get a nice house for about $75,000. You get a nice house for $75,000. It won't be no big house with 30 bedrooms. You single. You don't need 30 bedrooms. Get you a nice 2-3 bedroom house for about $75,000. And a $75,000 house might need a little bit of work, but it's way better than getting a mortgage. It's way better than getting that house that's $200,000-$400,000. A bucket of paint ain't but $25 at Home Depot. You can make an older house look very nice with a couple buckets of paint and a couple weekends. Okay, go outside, cut the hedges. You can hire a couple guys. $1,000, $5,000 would totally transform a rundown house. A house that just need a little bit of love. The AC work, the roof is solid, the bone structure, the frame of the house is solid. All it needs is, trim the hedges and cut the grass a little bit and throw some paint on the wall. $200 in paint. You get a landscaping guy, pay him about $300 to go through the yard and get rid of these bushes growed up all over the place. And you paint the outside, paint the inside, and you know, in a couple months time, you just totally transform that house, and you have a paid for a house about 70, 75, $80,000. But nobody don't wants to do that. They want to put everything on payments. Cause you got people out here that make $200, $300, $400,000 a year, but they broke because they making payments on everything. You know, and that's real minimum wage. People who make $50,000 a year are the new, I don't want to say the new, I don't want to say the new, they always been poor. I'm in the working class, so I'm not better than nobody. But the fact is, I'm starting to come to the realization that, okay, I got to do better than this. I got to get out of this rat race. Having a mortgage and all this, it's like we make too much doggone money to be making payments on everything. All this money we making out here, if you make about 100, if you take home after expenses $150,000 a year, you should be able to pay cash for just about everything. You can buy a $15,000, $20,000 car cash. You can buy a house cash. You can buy a $75,000 house cash. You know, you can buy the bare essentials. And once you get a house paid for cash, a car paid for cash, and I say at least about $50,000 cash in the bank, ain't nothing can touch you. In the working class zone, nothing can touch you. The comfort in that is just unbelievable. Just think about it. If you had to pay for a house, pay for a car, and you had $50,000 cash in the bank, and only bills you had is insurance and utilities and stuff like that, cell phone bill, basic utilities. Think about the level of comfort and satisfaction you would be in if you had that level of stability. So that's this video. Real minimum wage. Real minimum wage. I need y'all to grasp this concept. I need y'all to wrap your head around what I'm talking about, because I know it's gonna be some guys and gals that's defending the rat race. There's a lot of people gonna defend it. It's like, what? I make $20 an hour. I'm okay. I'm good. No, you're not. You're broke. Do you got $20,000, $30,000 cash in the bank? I'm not talking about you had to scrape and save and kill yourself trying to put it there. I'm talking about, do you have $20,000, $30,000 cash in the bank to where if you spend it, you can get it right back quick? No. It probably took you your whole life to save that $20,000, $30,000 if you do have it. If you make $40K a year, if you make $40K a year, you don't have no money. You broke. And it takes somebody like me to tell you in your face that, yeah, you are broke. You are broke. You got to do better. You need more money. You need to be getting into other things that afford you the income and the money. So don't take it, because I don't want you guys to take it as if I'm beating up on y'all. You're not doing enough. La 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 la. Get out of the comfort zone of that $40,000, $50,000 a year and go out here and get and do better. I want y'all to be able to just pay cash for a house. I want y'all to pay cash for cars. I want you to be able to go to a new car dealership and pay $20,000 cash for a brand new Honda Accord. That's what I want you to be able to do. You're never gonna get there. I don't need y'all buying BMWs and Lexuses and Mercedes Benzes. You paying way too much for cars. You don't need a Benz. Of course, if you want one, hey, by all means, go get one. But I'm telling you, from a financial standpoint, you really don't need that. We're talking about household economics and basic household finance. That's what I'm talking about here. I mean, if you want to do what you want to do, hey, do what you want to do. But don't be mad at me because I told you when you 60 years old and you don't have a pot to piss in, you don't have no money, you have no cash, you got all this debt, you got a big old house payment, you don't got no pay for cars, you don't have a retirement plan, you don't have nothing. Don't be mad at me because I told you this is the way to get there. Minimum wage is $150,000 a year. That's the minimum. Because if you make $150,000, you're gonna pay $45,000 in taxes. You're gonna have $100,000 a year to play with. That means you can go out here and pay cash for just about anything. All the basic stuff. You know, the basic. You know, all the basic things of life. A car, a house, you know, a few medical mishaps, surgery, you know, $10, $15, $20,000 surgery. You know, it might be something that your insurance may not cover. You never know. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's the truth. You know, but hey, I just want to do this little follow-up video. I'm trying a different way to do a video, so I'm just seeing if this thing works. So I appreciate y'all watching.